Hello, Jessica. This is going to be a very rough video on what our next steps are going to be. Basically, three options, which are either an increased caloric deficit, so eating less overall average food, or increasing your caloric expenditure, or third option is both. Now, I would prefer to just increase your caloric expenditure. That's almost always my choice over increasing your food deficit. Now, with some of my competitors, they're already doing 6 to 7 plus, sometimes 8 to 9 workouts per week. So adding more cardio is oftentimes more stressful than decreasing their food consumption. With you, that's not the case. Now, if you recall, when we first started, we had said, geez, that sun's bright. We had said that we're going to start at 3 days per week and then increase that as we go along. Now, I was hoping after 4 weeks we would increase that. That was not the case. So now is the time to do that. What's going to follow is I've created some visuals for you that I had hoped to do on a whiteboard, but I couldn't erase what was on my whiteboard. So I've created visuals. I'm going to explain how fat loss works, the primary things that go on with fat loss. I'm going to give 2 examples of 2 individuals, and then I'm going to talk about the main reasons why people stop losing weight and where you might fit in that spectrum. After you watch this little video, mosquito, we can talk. And please be thinking about everything. I want you to think about if you have any questions, and write them down, or just keep them in the back of your head or in the front of your head, and I would love to clear anything up. All right, let's get started. How do we lose fat or gain fat? The short answer is there must be some kind of caloric imbalance. Hopefully that already makes a little bit of sense. To get even more specific, this is the first law of thermodynamics. Now, just because there's thousands of diet books doesn't mean this isn't true. In fact, there can be success stories with every one of those diet books. And by a matter of law, wherever that success story is true, wherever that Atkins diet, paleo diet, low-fat diet, Mediterranean diet, wherever one of those diets works, it works because of this law. Not because of the bread was gluten-free or because the greens were in a superfood juice created by a unicorn. It's because of the law of energy conservation, which says the change in energy equals the energy that comes in minus the energy that goes out. Or put like this, the change in fat mass equals energy consumed minus energy expended. Okay, we're going to get to this a little bit later. Let's go over an important term here. Maintenance number. This is the amount of food or energy consumed by which you don't lose or gain any weight. It's important to know this number. The more exact you are with this number, the better. But honestly, you don't have to be too exact, because if you get this number wrong, you would either decrease your calories more or increase your energy expenditure more until you lose weight. Okay, 1 pound of fat equals roughly, yes, this is rough, 3,500 calories of energy. So 3,500 calories gives you 1 pound of fat. So if you want to lose 1 pound every week, you need to consume 3,500 calories less every week, or 500 calories less per day compared to your maintenance. An example, your maintenance is 2,000 calories, which means you can eat 2,000 calories and not lose or gain any weight. This doesn't count water weight from menstrual cycle. You go on a diet. Your diet calories are 1,500, so you've subtracted 500 per day. You will lose 1 pound a week. Forever? Right? You should lose 1 pound forever. That's actually the logic we would apply to this, and we get very confused on why that's not true. If this were true, you would disintegrate. You would lose, 100 pounds in a year. If you only weighed 160 pounds, in 2 years you would be gone. You wouldn't exist anymore. But this doesn't happen. Now, why is that? Knowing why this doesn't continue is how we're going to answer how we can continue losing weight, because this is the answer to fat loss stalls and plateaus. All right, let's get to that. Thrifty gene theory. It's part of the evolutionary theory. So you're eating less food. Your body is telling your brain, we have no food. Okay, so in an attempt to keep you alive, your body actually starts burning less calories. I wrote here, the body seeks homeostasis. It's constantly seeking it. And you're in a state of dyshomeostasis because you're trying to lose body fat. Because it's seeking homeostasis to keep you alive, it will start preventing you from losing more energy. Does this happen just through magic? Nope. It also doesn't happen because you're not eating enough veggies, or your bread isn't gluten-free, or your diet's too high in sugar. I consider all that stuff basically magic, because people who say that's why you're not losing weight anymore are basically saying the law of energy conservation is no longer true, so we're disregarding that law, and the reason you're no longer losing weight is because there's GMOs in your food, or your broccoli isn't organic. Okay, those are goofballs, and they want to lose weight through magic. The real reason, let's get to it. Now remember, this is the law of energy conservation. Change in fat mass equals energy consumed minus TDEE, which is energy expenditure. This stands for total daily energy expenditure. Now, what we need to know is that this is not static, okay? If this number were static, meaning it didn't change from when you started to your whole journey of fat loss, if it didn't change, you would continue to lose a consistent amount of body weight forever until you evaporated. But what people don't realize is this number, so the energy burned actually goes down. And it doesn't go down through magic. Okay, let's look at what makes up TDEE. Because when people think of energy expenditure, they only think of exercise. But exercise, as we'll see down here, only makes up 15 to 30% of your total daily energy expended. All right, first we have digestion, which is very interesting. We use the acronym Thermic Effective Food, TEF. Thermic Effective Food stands for the amount of energy that must be burned to even digest your food. It's very interesting. I know I'm sounding overly passionate for what could be a boring topic, but it is exciting. Protein, for instance, has the highest thermic effective food. 20 to 30% of the total calories of the protein you're consuming actually gets burned to just digest the protein. How crazy is that? This is just one reason why a good fat loss diet should be high in protein, because it has the highest thermic effective food. You burn the most amount of calories just by consuming protein. Fat, by the way, has the lowest. The second highest is carbs. Fat is like 2 to 6%. Carbs are about 8 to 10%. Nothing near what protein is. All right, so digestion itself is one way we burn calories. The second is non-digestion, meaning some of it you don't absorb at all, fecal matter. That's just the tiniest portion. The main is going to be 1, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, 3, RMR, resting metabolic rate, sometimes referred to as basal metabolic rate, but we're going to use RMR from here on out. This is simply the calories required to keep you alive, keep your brain going, your organs going, everything like that. RMR makes up the majority of the calories burned throughout the day. Next, we have exercise. Good acronym is just EAT. Exercise, activity, thermogenesis. Some people honestly don't do any formal exercise, so for the average person, this makes up 15 to 30% of total calories burned in their day. Now, what could be possibly the most important is NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This takes up 10 to sometimes 50% of total calories burned. Some people burn over 2,000 calories in non-formal exercise. This is chewing gum, fidgeting, standing and sitting. So going from a sit to a stand, some people do that actually more. Whether it's to go to the bathroom or just stretch out, some people actually stand from a sitting position more than other people. Other people are fine just sitting forever. Taking stairs, parking further away from the grocery store instead of all just searching for that closest spot constantly. Any kind of walking, bouncing around because you're weird. Some people do that. This is basically subconscious or spontaneous physical activity. What's important to know is when we diet, NEAT always goes down. Okay? And what's really important to know about this is you don't realize it. People don't realize they're actually moving less. Again, whether that's through fidgeting less, through standing less, through the stand-sit kind of thing, through walking less. Maybe you would have gone on a walk, but now you're feeling a little drained, so you don't. So again, this goes down. Remember, in order to lose body fat, this must go up, this must go down. So if this goes down and we didn't change this, but we think we have a caloric deficit and this is coming down to meet it, without realizing it, we could have no more caloric deficit or very small, where we're basically losing half a pound a month, which you don't even notice, especially if you have a menstrual cycle. Let's take an example. Michael was in great shape in college. Michael lived on in Ocean Beach. He went to San Diego State. He didn't do any formal workouts, but he surfed all the time and he walked on the beach and he just had fun with his friends. He didn't even watch his diet. He weighed 180 pounds. Michael graduated. He got a great education. He's now a financial consultant in Seattle, where it rains a lot. He no longer surfs. He doesn't take great walks on the beach because it's raining. He works out though 3 to 4 times a week, but he's not losing weight. Okay? So I have some interesting stuff. This was established through a study on non-exercise activity thermogenesis in 2004, where they accurately tested the calories burned through many different kinds of movement. We're just going to look at a few. Sitting burns less than 1 calorie per minute. Now, how much you weigh will change this number. Standing. People think standing desks are the solution. They're not really, because you're still. Standing burns about 1 to 1.5 calories per minute, again, depending on your weight. Now, if you do either of these while fidgeting, again, the golden term here is movement, you will just about double your calories burned per minute, okay? Walking at roughly 3 to 4 miles an hour will burn about 3 to 4 calories a minute. This is pretty amazing, isn't it? Formal exercise will burn really 5 to 10 calories per minute, which on that low end is close to just walking by itself. All right, let's go back to our example. He works an 8-hour shift where he sits all day. Now he might get up and go pee a little bit, so we're gonna put his total calories burned at 1.5 kcals per minute for an 8-hour shift. That's 720 calories. He then does a workout either before or after work, 45 to 90 minutes, where he burns about 430 kcals. His total for work shift and formal workout is 1,150 calories. Okay, so this is interesting. This is how much he's expending. Let's now look at Billy. Billy became an ER nurse, emergency nurse. I don't know why he did it, but he's a fake person, so that's what he did. He does no formal workouts, but he's on his feet all day, walking at about 3 to 4 miles an hour for 8 to 10 hours. With no formal workouts, Billy is burning 1,500 calories. Now this is actually very important. It's one of the most important aspects of continual fat loss. And it's why some people walk around skinny and they're not working out, because those people likely move more than people who are overweight. But since it's not a crazy CrossFit workout, you don't always notice it. It can be something as simple as this. Billy's moving all day, burning more calories than Michael, who's doing a crazy CrossFit workout. Michael only burns 720 during his work shift, about half of what Billy burns. So even though he does a workout, it's not enough to create a deficit. All right, Jess, now we're gonna look at the top reasons people stop losing weight, okay? Top reasons, this is very important. Number 1, underreporting. This is actually one of the most important reasons, especially if you're counting calories. You know, it's something I don't always like to call out because some people take it as I'm calling them a liar. But honestly, a lot of people do not track everything they eat, and they think it's an innocent sort of thing. Whether it's putting 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise on your sandwich instead of 1 tablespoon. So that's 1 tablespoon extra, or a little snack of 1 tablespoon of peanut butter at night, plus 1/2 cookie, which could have just been a bite. It's so small. Why do I need to track that? It was nothing. Plus 1 tablespoon butter on toast that you simply didn't track. That's 300 calories. Remember, we need a 500 calorie deficit. So if you think you're doing a 500 calorie deficit, but you're not tracking 300 of those calories, you actually have a 200 calorie deficit. That's still a deficit, but it might not be enough to actually see it. And you could get discouraged from only losing a 1/2 pound of fat in a month. And this is actually a big reason, not reporting everything you're consuming. Number 2, time. If you're a female, you might just need to wait longer. Okay, if you weighed 150 pounds week 1 of month 4, and then you weigh 100, or you weigh the same, or you've gained 3 pounds week 2 or week 3, you've likely just gained water weight from your menstrual cycle. As I've mentioned before, for females, it's only accurate to track 1 week of 1 month compared to the next week of the next month, when that menstrual cycle is starting over. All right, 3, there needs to be a greater calorie deficit. Now, this can either be because your first calorie deficit wasn't low enough, because you miscalculated your maintenance calories, or you're not actually moving enough anymore, which leads to number 4, energy expenditure. I would prefer to do this before this. We can always add workouts. Now, what's interesting is with my figure competitors or fitness competitors, they're starting at a point where they're not even overweight, but they want to lose more weight, and they're doing 6 workouts a week. So when I get someone who actually is a little bit overweight and they're not doing more than 3 workouts per week, we have a big gap where we can increase that energy expenditure, probably double it, without eating any less food. This is very important. As I've already explained, even if your workouts are the same, as we diet, our non-exercise energy expenditure goes down. So your subconscious or spontaneous physical activity of what you did before the diet no longer is in existence. You'll walk less, you might bounce your leg less, whatever it might be. You might laugh less because you're miserable, because your carbs are lower. Who knows what the reason. The NEAT goes down, which means your energy expenditure goes down. To counteract for that, here's what we need to do. Add 1 or more formal workouts, okay? This is, I want to call it the easiest thing to do because it's trackable. It's you know you've done it, especially if you have a coach watching you, or just if you've done it. But here's the thing, you need to do it every week. Okay, this can't be some random workout. You need to put this in your schedule. Now, same thing with this. Option number 2, increase your NEAT. This can be going on walks or do something fun. I've made videos for clients where I'm dancing, bouncing a tennis ball against the wall, bouncing a basketball, dribbling a soccer ball with my feet, hacky sack, which is not how that's spelled. And one thing that's funny is people get frustrated because they're like, I'm not good at any of these things. Well, guess what? Inefficiency increases your caloric burn. The better your technique gets at something, you actually burn less calories, which is actually a good thing, because athletes don't even want to be burning calories. They want to hold on to their energy for sport. Or you can do both, which is what I recommend. And so this is coming to the end of my little video. This is not so I will make more money, by the way. If you want me to program 1 more workout, yes, I will charge a little more. Whether I do it or not, you just have to do one of these. You have to move your body more, whether that's through your NEAT, which is honestly sort of tough to do because NEAT is stuff you don't really think about. So either you have to schedule walks every single day before or after your meals is a pretty good time. With habit change, it's good if you tie whatever the habit is to some kind of trigger, which is so it's easy to remember. So if you tie it to a meal, you know, okay, I ate, now I go on a walk. And then you do that for 30 to 60 days, it becomes a habit. So something like that is really good, or just do something fun. And that's where we're gonna leave this. This is where we're now gonna talk and have what is called a Get Serious talk or real talk about what we're going to do here. I would prefer increasing your energy expenditure instead of increasing your caloric deficit. And I want to remind you, if we do this more, or even right now, because we're already doing it, this increases your needs for micronutrients, okay, which is a multivitamin. So I need to make sure you're actually consuming that. All right, that's the end of this long video. Let's chat. Let me know if you have questions. Thumbs up.